And since I have been away for more than 48 hours, so we have a lot of the catch up to do tonight. But we are going to start with the one that is currently trending, the ongoing wars between the Israel, US versus Iran, then Iran versus, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and a few others who have received their rockets, including Israel, who have received the Iranians' missiles. That is where we are going to start from tonight. A catch up. About 24 or like 36 hours ago, the president of the United States, President Donald Trump, made an announcement, like declared an ongoing military operation, a joint military operation against the regime in Iran. Why? Donald Trump accused the regime in Iran of being responsible for the killings of over 1,000 Americans, attacks on the assets of the American assets in the Persia region and the rest of that, also sponsoring or funding terrorism all over the world, the Islamic jihadism. And part of that is Israel, where you have Benjamin Netanyahu, their own prime minister, who has vowed, at least as recent as January 2026, that until they get the regime in Iran crushed, he's not giving up. And that kicked off about 36 hours ago, which has now led to serious kind of like destructions all over this region. It all started after President Trump made this announcement. And that's what we're going to start from this evening. Brethren.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels in international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again, they can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, We obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that, with His help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or, in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America's armed forces. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Donald J. Trump. For those who have been following world politics, opinions, views are vary. So therefore, this conversation tonight is not basically about that. America is the world police. I have heard people ask that question. Who made America the world police? After the Second World War, America became the world police. And in that regard, they become people who can tell us which regime is sponsoring terror that they are not aware of. I mean, they are not part of, but they are aware of. And which country is indeed acting exactly how America, want them to act. So America decided that before terror, any part of the world could wage any form of war against the rest of the world, like what happened in the Second World War. So they will be in charge and make sure that never happened again. That is the reason why when they signed this, their non-nuclear whatever treaty for the countries who have the nuclear weapons and those who didn't at the time, and why some countries must never be allowed to. And again, this is their global politics, rightly or wrongly, right? The American government of Donald Trump has been always like looking forward to a time to dislodge the Islamic Revolutionary Guard of Iran. Their track record is not that good or not that great in that sense. So, but they have been managing over the years to make deals with America back and forth. It's always been like a threat here and there. And the only reason why Iran seemed a little bit, or let me say, this whole thing lasted or took this long before it finally happened is simply because Iran also harmed themselves enough that if you attack us for any reason to dislodge this Islamic Revolutionary Guard in government, the Ayatollahs, right? They would then use their weapons and attack all of the American allies that surround them in the Persia. So this has been a threat. 2 days ago, when this operation actually started, or 2 nights ago when it all started, it was reported, in fact, a few months back, Donald Trump, the fact that Donald Trump said something about asking them to come and make deal, they wanted to do it, they wanted to do it, right? So their own CIA, the Americans have been tracking the Ayatollah, the 89-year-old leader. They've been tracking him for months, all of his movement. It got so kind of like so obvious, like so serious that the people that surrounds Ayatollah himself, this one that they killed, those who surrounded him, his most trusted aides and all of them, would no longer be trusted. Enough that when people were meeting him in different bunkers they were taking him from, okay, they would have to like blindfold them before they would actually get to his location. They were not allowed to know where it was. That means America has been able to infiltrate them so much, including the Israelis. So they've been able to infiltrate them so much that they knew everywhere he was going. The killings of this Ayatollah and other leaders of this IRG that they killed last night, right, is practically like a delayed by Donald Trump until now. If for Israel, right, they would have taken them out long time ago. And I know some of those who are like the terrorist sympathizers in Nigeria, especially those closeted terrorists in northern part of Nigeria who are currently like losing their shit right now. Okay, Iran is so powerful. To them, they believe that Iran is so powerful that who is America? That America knows that all this shout and all that, they will dare not touch Ayatollah. Meanwhile, Israel, they have all his details. They have all his movements. So 2 months ago, this was like towards the end of last year, Donald Trump tweeted it and said, I'm giving you this chance, something like I'm giving you this chance because we know where you are. I know where you are. And you can be taken out anytime that I give the order. Donald Trump said that, right? And I think a few days ago, he also offered that olive branch. This was him asking them to come out and say, okay, they are surrendering all this, their nuclear, this, whatever, another arrangement that Donald Trump is presenting to them. Again, the ones that you and I can possibly just find so irritating, like why is America doing this and the rest of that? But they're just confused, okay? They were all out to get him, right? And all of this, their US destroyer, all this aircraft carrier, ships and all that, they were already like cycling around the Gulf, getting closer, all firing towards Iran. So in defense, as usual, because that's how the American would just like have to pull back if this was just about America, right? America would have pulled back the moment Iran started striking all these countries, Bahrain, all these places, including Saudi Arabia, okay? Because all the US bases in these countries have all been like bombed by Iran. It wasn't just America that is looking for him or for them to destroy them. And it's not just about this Ayatollah. It is the entire IRG. The real person behind this is Israel. After Donald Trump's announcement, this is what it looks like. The Gulf of it's just one US destroyer in one of their seas there, right? But the real people tracking to destroy the entire IRG, Islamic Revolution Guard of Iran, no other than Netanyahu. Listen to his own message as this joint operation were going on yesterday.
My brothers and sisters, citizens of Israel, a short while ago, Israel and the United States launched a joint campaign, Operation Lion's Roar. The goal of the operation, to end the threat from the Ayatollah regime in Iran. At this hour, the IDF is attacking targets of the oppressive regime, facilities of the Revolutionary Guard and the Basij, and together with the United States military, ballistic missile sites that threaten both Israel and United States forces. This operation will continue as long as necessary. For 47 years, the evil regime in Iran has called out, "Death to Israel, death to America." It has trampled the citizens of its own country, it has terrorized the peoples of the region, and spread an extensive terror network throughout the entire world. It has invested enormous resources to develop atomic bombs and tens of thousands of missiles intended, as it defined it, to wipe Israel off the map of the world. It also armed the terror proxies around us in Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Judea, and Samaria, and it has spilled our blood. But if anyone needed further proof regarding the murderous nature of the Ayatollah regime, they received it last month. Because we all saw how this regime of terror in Tehran carried out an unprecedented mass slaughter of the citizens of Iran itself. It murdered in cold blood thousands of children, adults, and the elderly. Tens of thousands were imprisoned, tortured, and humiliated. And why? Only because they sought for themselves a life of freedom and dignity. In the war of revival and operation, like a lion cub, our heroic soldiers dealt a crushing blow to the Ayatollah regime and its proxies. But the wounded beast of prey has not ceased its attempts to recover, for that same purpose, to destroy us. In recent months, the tyrants in Iran have been plotting to rebuild their nuclear and missile capabilities, then hide them underground where we will not be able to strike them. If we do not stop them now, they will be immune. And for this purpose, their representatives in negotiations are trying to buy time in futile and deceitful negotiations with our American friends. But the tyrants in Iran have made a bitter mistake, because the United States is not buying their lies, and we will not sit idly by while the shadow of destruction hovers over us. And therefore, we have now launched Operation Lion's Roar, an action that is far more powerful than Operation Like a Lion Cub, which was very powerful. We are doing this in full cooperation with our friends in the United States. Under the courageous leadership